Hi guys, Nicola here from City Physio. Now, what is a headache appointment at City Physio? Headache appointments, like jaw appointments at City Physio, are a fraction longer than our standard physio appointment. They're 45 minutes, and that allows us to do a really comprehensive assessment, treatment, and treatment planning for you in a really specific and what can be really complicated area of the body. Now, from a subjective end of the spectrum, we're going to be asking you a whole bunch of questions around your headache. How often do they come on? What different types of headache or migraine do you have? Do you know their triggers? Do you know what eases each individual headache off? Can you cause a headache? Can you stop one from when it starts to sort of zoom in? Those sorts of questions. We're going to ask you questions around traumatic history. So a lot of headache and migraine comes from your neck. So if you have had a whiplash, a car accident, a spear tackle, anything like that, that's really relevant in your sort of headache management. And then we're going to go through a whole bunch of questions to screen out what we call red flags. Now, red flags are things that are sort of quite alarming and cause us to refer you on doctor, specialist, hospital, etc. So a red flag, for example, with a headache patient might be a stroke or might be a brain tumor. These things are incredibly rare, but it's really important that we screen for them every single time. So questions we will ask around that are what we call the 3 N's and the 5 D's. Now these are, you have to have a cluster of them for it to be an issue. It has to be relevant. And they include things like dizziness, blurred vision, problems speaking or swallowing, randomly fainting, nausea, your eyes doing weird little movements, numbness in your hands or face, for example. So if you had a cluster of those particular things, we might send you off and not treat you in the clinic. Again, incredibly rare. So when we're looking at a headache patient objectively, what we're looking to see is what specifically is going wrong with their neck, their shoulder, their postures to cause an overload that heads into the face. So the joints most implicated in headaches are the top 3 vertebrae, C1, C2, and C3. And they refer to different parts of your head and your face. So depending on where your specific headache is in your head or face will often narrow us down to a specific joint. Now, the fun thing is, if we can reproduce that pain, then that's where it's sort of coming from. So if you have a really bad sort of band-like tension headache, and I stick my thumb onto the joint that I think refers from there, and it gives you exactly your headache, then we know with quite good sort of accuracy that that is where the headache is coming from. So that allows us to zone in really quickly and work out if you are a candidate for good headache physiotherapy and if we can treat you today. So that's what we're looking at. So the first part of the treatment will be working out specifics of what's involved with your headache. And then the second part of the treatment will be working out how do we unload or reload those joints to sort of improve the loading through them. So if you've got a joint that's particularly stiff, we might be doing manual therapy to make it less stiff. If you've got a joint that's jammed or you've got a muscle section that's incredibly weak through one side of your neck, we might be doing cueing exercises to get those muscles to fire to help unjam and restabilize those joints through the neck. And then the last part of the treatment is working out how you got there. So if you have a really weak section on one side of your neck, working out if it's from your desk. Is your desk off to one side causing you to sit lopsided the whole time? Have you had a history of sort of other low-grade traumas through the neck and the back that haven't been addressed properly, meaning we need to sort of activate some of those stabilizers around the spine that may be associated with segmental instability and jamming through your neck? Do you have an asymmetry with how you hold your head or the way you do your exercises in the gym, or maybe it's your desk or looking at a small child, those sorts of things, and working out strategies so that we can minimize future flare-ups for you. So that's how a headache appointment goes at City Physio.